Welcome to XIO Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 162. Xiao Yan's hand slightly curled. A suction force pulled the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva from the jade box into his hand. His eyes coagulated. A green-white flame separated from the surface of the little fairy doctor's body. After which, it wrapped around the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. When the flame made contact with the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva, it immediately began to writhe as though it had been provoked. From the looks of it, it seemed that it intended to escape the flame. Xiao Yan would not allow such a situation to occur. The Bodhisattva body transformation saliva might possess a unique effect, but it needed to undergo a slight refinement by the heavenly flame before it could be used on the little fairy doctor's body. The green-white flame churned even more intensely. He slightly clenched his hand. Under this frightening temperature, the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva lasted 2 to 3 minutes before it gradually ceased wiggling. Huh? Xiao Yan removed the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva from the flame after the refinement was completed. However, he was surprised to see that the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva had gradually revealed many emerald green, dust-like particles. In the blink of an eye, they formed an emerald green bead the size of a palm. The Bodhisattva body transformation saliva slightly trembled the instant the emerald green bead was formed. Immediately, this bead fell and was grabbed by Xiao Yan's hand. This emerald green bead was not smooth. Instead, it felt a little rough. However, one could sense a thriving life force when one held it in one's hands. This is Bodhisattva seed? Xiao Yan's eyes revealed his surprise as he looked at the emerald green bead that had appeared in his hand for no reason. A moment later, his eyes focused as he exclaimed. The Bodhisattva seed, like the Bodhisattva heart, was something that originated from the Bodhisattva ancient tree. However, this kind of rare item was just as rare as the Bodhisattva heart. Normally, it would transform into powder in an instant after falling from the Bodhisattva ancient tree. It was extremely difficult for an outsider to obtain. The precipitation within the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva can actually form the Bodhisattva seed? Xiao Yan's eyes flashed quickly as he suddenly came to an understanding. The legend says that one would be able to sense the existence of the Bodhisattva heart by obtaining the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva was indeed true. However, the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva in the legend should mean the Bodhisattva seed. Only by obtaining the Bodhisattva seed would one obtain the chance to sense the legendary Bodhisattva heart. Xiao Yan slowly clenched his hand. A joy flashed through his eyes. He did not expect this unintentional consequence would enable him to obtain this unique item. A divine item like the Bodhisattva heart possessed an allure that could not be matched by an elite Do Zun because the Bodhisattva heart could raise the chances of success while one was advancing to the Do Sheng class. Just this point alone was enough to cause every elite Do Zun to pounce on it like a moth attracted to fire. Xiao Yan did not have time to carefully study why he did not sense anything after obtaining this Bodhisattva seed. His hand grabbed the cold jade box suspended beside him and carefully placed the Bodhisattva seed into it. After which, he returned the box to his storage ring. This thing was far too precious. If word were to spread, it would end up resulting in a big commotion. Even some old demon Do Zuns, who were living in seclusion, would likely be lured out by this. At that time, he would have to flee with all his might. Therefore, Xiao Yan made up his mind. If he did not possess sufficient strength, it was best that he did not find the Bodhisattva heart. Otherwise, he would really end up in a miserable state and would lose more than he would gain. After storing away the Bodhisattva seed, Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly looked back at the little fairy doctor in front of him, whose body was trembling while her eyes were tightly shut. Subsequently, he grabbed the emerald green Bodhisattva body transformation saliva from the flame. He inhaled a deep breath of air and pressed it against the little fairy doctor's smooth lower abdomen. The Bodhisattva body transformation saliva had just made contact with the little fairy doctor's body when it emitted a squeaking sound. It found her pores and quietly entered her body. An emerald green color, that was filled with life, immediately spread from the little fairy doctor's lower abdomen after the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva entered it. Within a couple of breaths, it completely circulated around the little fairy doctor's body. An emerald green liquid adhered on every corner of the little fairy doctor's body. Upon the invasion of this Bodhisattva body transformation saliva, her veins and muscles, that had lost some life because of the poison air, once again began to radiate with life. The density of the life force being emitted was even greater than it had been before. It is indeed worthy of being the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. Joy flashed across Xiao Yan's face as he sensed the life force swiftly radiating from the little fairy doctor's body. The effectiveness of the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva had exceeded his expectations. Next will be to resolve the strength of the woeful poison. Xiao Yan's expression once again turned grave. He curled two of his fingers and swiftly pressed them against the little fairy doctor's lower abdomen. Following the arrival of his fingers, the green-white flame, surrounding the grayish swirl, immediately split apart, forming a small opening. Wave after wave of emerald green liquid swiftly entered through the gap. Finally, it carried a slight gurgling sound as it charged into the gray poison swirl. The gray-colored poison gas, that was filled with a deadly aura, immediately reacted after the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva touched it. The grayish gas crazily churned. While it churned, the deadly aura contained within her body was swiftly neutralized by the life force contained within the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. Little fairy doctor, circulate your Do Qi and suppress the poison gas. Turn it into a poison Dan. Xiao Yan immediately let out a stern cry after sensing the swiftly disappearing deadly aura. The cry was just like thunder as it rumbled to the deepest parts of the little fairy doctor's soul. The little fairy doctor's soul recovered some consciousness after this cry from Xiao Yan. After which, she hurriedly circulated her Do Qi and followed the method that was described by the Poison Dan method from back then. She gradually began to suppress the mighty poison gas. Under the little fairy doctor's control, this poison gas spiral began to head to the monster core located at the middle. The monster core began to emit a wild, violent energy in the face of the poison gas in an attempt to resist the erosion. Boom! This kind of poison gas and wild energy collision did not last long before it suddenly unleashed a wave of deep muffled sounds. The energy within the monster core was swiftly swallowed and occupied by the woeful poison vapor. Along with the erosion of this poison gas, the monster core began to turn round, and the crystal started to emit a gray luster. The gray-colored poison gas spiral continued to rotate at a rapid speed. Mighty woeful poison gas surged unceasingly into the round monster core. As more Do Qi surged into it, the size of that monster core shrank at a slow pace. Thank the heavens! Xiao Yan exclaimed in the outside world when he sensed the orderly scene occurring within the little fairy doctor's body. Immediately, a tiredness rose within his heart. After which, his limbs collapsed. Everything seemed to have smoothly progressed. Currently, all he needed to do was wait for the little fairy doctor to absorb all of the woeful poison gas. Once the poison Dan was formed, the woeful poison gas would be fully under the little fairy doctor's control. It would no longer erupt without reason. It had been many years since he had made his promise to the little fairy doctor. Now, he had finally fulfilled it. While Xiao Yan was resolving the woeful poison body's problem for the little fairy doctor, there was a cold aura spreading within a large hall located deep within an icy region far from Yi City. You left with 54 people, yet you are the only one who has returned. Tianxi, is this the accountability that you have brought back? A white-robed figure was seated on an ice-cold throne in an ice-cold hall. A pair of emotionless eyes glanced at the old man creeping on the ground within the hall. His calm voice, however, caused the coldness within the hall to soar. Valley Chief, this entire matter is not related to this subordinate. All of it is because there is a mistake in the report. There is an elite Do Zun in that group. This subordinate can be considered lucky to have managed to escape and return this time around. The old man on the ground of the hall raised his head. He was surprisingly elder Tianxi who had escaped from the hands of Tian Huo Zun J. Do Zun? How many star Do Zun? A ripple appeared in the eyes of the human figure on the ice-cold throne when he heard this. He should only be a one-star Do Zun. Otherwise, this subordinate would not have been able to escape from his hands. Tianxi hesitated for a moment before respectfully replying. KK, no wonder he is able to turn Tianxi into such a miserable state. He is a one-star Do Zun. An elderly voice suddenly sounded. If one were to follow the voice and look over, one would see another old man in a white leather outfit located in a corner of the hall. A smile was hung on this old man's face. He did not possess the respect an ordinary person would show when mentioning a Do Zun. Only one star, huh? The human figure on the ice-cold throne slightly nodded. His finger gently pressed on his large armrest. A moment later, he spoke in a faint voice. This venerable self must obtain the woeful poison body. If it's a one-star Dozun, he does not possess the qualification to get this venerable self to give up. Do you know where that group headed to? Tianxi shook his head with some embarrassment when he heard his question. He hardly had the time to flee. Where would he find the time to bother about the whereabouts of those fellows? The human figure on the ice throne frowned when he saw Tianxi shake his head. A chill, that caused one's heart to palpitate, slowly permeated the hall. Tianxi trembled under this frightening chill that would even cause Dou Qi to freeze. Tisk tisk, Bingzun Jie, there is no need to get angry. We are aware of where that group of people is. A strange black vapor suddenly appeared within the hall while a coldness spread. Immediately, the black fog gathered, transforming into a human figure. The black fog wiggled and a faint metallic clanging sound was emitted from within. Hall of Souls? You have actually come to my Ice River Valley, what rare guests. The appearance of the black fog did not cause the human figure on the icy cold throne to feel even the least bit surprised. He simply spoke in an indifferent manner. Tisk tisk, there is someone within that group who is a target of our Hall of Souls. Since we have similar motive, we might be able to join hands together this time around. What does Bingzun Jie think? A strange laugh was emitted from the wiggling black fog. The woeful poison body belongs to my Ice River Valley. We will leave the others to you. The human figure on the ice-cold throne slowly stood up. A frightening air seemed to have been spat out of his breath, transforming into a cold stream that spread apart. He spoke these words softly after glancing at the figure made of black fog. You are indeed worthy of being Bingzun Jie. This boldness is something that an ordinary person has difficulty matching. Tisk tisk, in that case, I hope that we will cooperate well. While a large hand was moving against Xiao Yan's group in an ice-cold, large hall, the space of a wormhole on the far edge of the pill region began to form some ripples. Immediately, many human figures broke through the space and appeared. After which, they emitted some swoosh swoosh sounds and stood orderly in this open space. Numerous powerful killing auras spat out like volcanoes, causing this open ground to instantly become silent. Everyone were stunned as they looked at the black-colored figures. The hearts of those with stronger eyesight would beat rapidly at this moment because they would have discovered that the weakest among these black figures was at the Dou Huang class. Their hearts would start beating even quicker when their eyes moved over the two black-clothed, old men, who were the leaders. They caused the space around them to distort by simply standing there. The entire area had become quiet as their vast, mighty auras spread, causing quite a number of self-proclaimed experts to tremble. These black figures did not leave immediately after landing on the ground because the space once again became distorted soon after they landed. When the space became distorted, the many black figures, with the exception of the two leading old men, emitted a swish sound. They knelt to the distorted space with one knee on the ground in front of many shocked eyes. There was a respect that came from their hearts appearing in their eyes. Numerous dull gazes slowly turned to the distorted space. Expert Dozongs knelt and welcomed while elite Dozuns lowered their heads. This terrifying lineup was something they had seen for the first time in all these years. They really wanted to know which damn ultimate authority possessed such greatness? It was likely that even the 3 valleys and 2 sects didn't possess such an ability. The fluctuating space slowly came to a stop in front of many people's unblinking eyes. Immediately, a delicate figure slowly appeared in the distorted space. After which, she lifted her leg gently and strode through the space, appearing in this sunny area. The delicate-looking green-clothed lady gently placed her foot on the empty ground while the entire place was silent. Her alluring, exquisite face was gently raised. She looked in the direction of the distant Yi city. Immediately, she revealed a smile that could ruin a city. Xiao Yan Gege. With Xuan'er around, anyone who dares to touch you, I will kill them.